Thank you for staying with us. Let's get to that conversation for a bit. Daisy Amdani, Executive Director, the Community Advocacy and Awareness Trust, and a women's rights practitioner. Ledama Olekina, Senator in Narok County, and Emmanuel Wangwe, Majority Whip of the National Assembly, joining us tonight. Thank you, gentlemen and lady. Big day today at the Bomas of Kenya and for the country at large. Let's start with those that were perhaps very much present at this particular function. Senator Olekina, you've written a few things on your Twitter handle, live tweeting on some of the things that happened at the Bomas of Kenya. But let's start with the general mood. What did you think about the function today?
Well, I think it was quite interesting. I attended the function so that I could be able to listen and digest the different divergence of opinions, which is what will build this conversation. I think the committee did maybe 50% of what was supposed to have done, and it is now a large that needs to do the rest. I'm not particularly very happy with the report. There are a lot of things that, as marginalized people, as the people who are interested in building an economy that is all well-rounded, that support our devolved government structures, want to see done. Those things were not done, and I think it is now time for us to be able to be candid enough and to be able to point them out, so that we can be able to feel that we're included in shared national cake.
Majority Whip Wangwe, what are some of the key highlights for you at this particular function today at the Bomas of Kenya?
Thank you very much. First and foremost, allow me to appreciate and thank you for inviting me to the studio this evening. Today was a good day. First is to appreciate and thank God for the birthday of the president. We all celebrate him as our unifying factor in the country. Today was a good day. We were able to see the changes that are being proposed by the BBI, the team of the BBI, and very many top Kenyan leaders expressed their opinion on what the views that the report is capturing before the Kenyan people. Therefore, some of the highlights that came up in today's event were varied. Most of them, I would want to say, they were enriching the report, and generally the report was accepted. When the president posted that, shall we be able to support it? I was there personally, and everyone applauded the report. But what now we need to have in mind is that we have to accommodate the views, the divergent views that were raised in the hall today. Let us now task the report, the team that is assembling the information or the report, polish it further. Right. The bones of a human being are intact, but now we need to put the flesh and make him stand strong before the Kenyan people.
Right, thank you. Daisy Amdani, you're a huge commentator on matters politics, and a lot of your key interests were picked on today. Are you happy with how, the committee and leadership as a whole have handled this entire process so far?
Good evening, and Akisa, and good evening to the honorable members and viewers. Akisa, for me today, I think I saw a very worrying thing. Sense of intolerance to divergent views, and almost sense that anybody who dissents with it is not going to be given an opportunity to air that dissent. I think the conversation that we need to have in Kenya is really about what it means to be a democracy. Constitution making is not an event, it is a process. In fact, the Constitution 2010 that we have today took us over 20 years, and it was agitation, blood, sweat, tears, death. People died, and it was a build-up from the independence movement, where people were looking for a framework that would ensure that Kenyans, citizens, are able to live a life of dignity. So I think that when the government or the leadership is proposing significant changes to our constitution, and we keep talking about building bridges because the way it is being named, it's called the Building Bridges Initiative, and they're talking about amendments. But when you look at the amendments they are seeking to make, the Constitution 2010 has 18 chapters. The Building Bridges is seeking to amend 14 of those 18 chapters. Those are not amendments. The Building Bridges is proposing to overhaul the entire constitutional framework of Kenya. That is not a simple thing. That should not be done in a flippant manner. It must be a broad-based conversation that incorporates every view. And I think that for me is the one thing that was shocking, because all the problems that we've had in Kenya, whether we talk about violence, the things that we say we are trying to avoid, one of the key areas it stems from is a sense of intolerance. And that was manifested today at the Bomas of Kenya, where anybody who spoke or poked holes or raised issues about, and significant issues, starting with Honorable Mudavadi, when he was talking about issues, and people start jeering and booing the deputy president, raising significant issues about the incoherence and inconsistencies about the proposals that are being made, and he was being booed. So what does this mean? What happens to everybody else who actually has a divergent view? Is it that BBI is going to be pushed down our throats to pende to sipende, or is it really about having a national conversation where every view counts?
Right.
That for me is the question.
Right. Senator Olekina, you started by saying that you're not very happy with this report, that in fact you feel this committee has done barely 50% of what they were supposed to do. Why do you say that? Very quickly.
I think the reason why I say that is because if you look at the report and if you look at the organization and individuals who presented their views, number 58 is myself and a group of a future association of Maasai communities. We had very clear issues that we raised. Number one, we were very clear on the role of the Senate. We wanted the Senate to be the upper house. I believe over 90% of all the people who presented on the Senate called for the Senate to become the upper house. But the committee of experts decided to give themselves a role to determine that where they want to throw this issue of the two-third gender rule, that's why today they could say 100% gender parity is the Senate, But then when you look at the meat, of the report, it really trashes the role of the Senate. And this, I was very clear and categorical, it was influenced by the position of the Senate on the revenue formula. That is issue number one. Number two, when you look at chapter 9 on the executive, on the expansion of the executive, they talk about the winner take all, and it's total bullshit that they are talking about having one very powerful president.
We might want to watch our language, Senator. We might want to watch our language. We're on national TV.
Who appoints, that's just an English word, really. Who appoints and fires the vice president, the prime minister. He's the most powerful person. What stops him from appointing his relative to becoming the deputy prime minister or even the deputy president? So really, I think it's a matter of us being pragmatic. And we're not being pragmatic. And this is why I keep on saying that when it comes to us coming up with a constitution, we must always have the principle at heart. One, come up with a constitution that when your enemy is in power, you are protected. Don't come up with a constitution where you want to line your pocket. I came up with a conclusion, and I say it appears as if there was someone who forced the BBI task force members to expand the executive that way, to water down the role of the Senate, and then to play with this issue of the two-third gender parity. Let me tell you, that task force, they were not expert in the sense that they went there and they crafted their own ideas of what they want Kenya to be. They were there to try and represent the views of the people. blotting up the Senate and expanding it to 97 senators does not make any sense. We're a country of 50 million people. You know, when you're looking at the issue of the vote of the Senate, the role of the Senate, in my view, was completely watered down, but it's people who do not believe in democracy. That is issue number one. Number two, when you look at minority groups, when you go into the minority groups like the Maasais of Baringo, they were crying. They went there and they said, please, let us be represented. Give us a constituency. It was watered down. But what did the committee of experts do? They come in and they say proportional representation will add more seats based on how many people vote in a particular area. Lastly, my biggest concern, which is something that really worries me, we had serious issues regarding the issue of land use policy. We raised those. We presented them. If you go to the Masai Mara Game Reserve, as an example, we, the people of Narok, raised a serious concern. We say we are sick and tired of people coming and buying property around the park and fencing it, which is a wildlife corridor. We wanted to, and it is one of the biggest, one of our income earners. If you look at Narok County as an example, last year alone, we had over 3 billion shillings from that park. So we said, protect these areas so that you build that economy. That was trashed down. You know, most emphasis was put on Chapter 9 on the expansion of the executive, and it's a fact.
Okay.
On the Senate, because the independence of these people, those were the issues that we raised, and we need to be candid and to be aware that we are coming up with a constitution that will outlive us.
All right. I'd like us to give it a break there, because when we come back, Majority Whip Emmanuel Wangwe, you'll be picking up from there. I know you have a lot of responses for some of the things that have been raised by both Daisy Mdani and Senator Ledama Olekina. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back at the top of the hour to continue with this conversation, where we'll have more time for it, but we'd also like to hear your views on the same, your thoughts on what happened at Bomas of Kenya today. Do you have confidence that this is the direction the country should take? Text us on 22155, tweet us at Akisa Wandera, at K10 News KE. The hashtag to use is K10 Prime. We're coming back with that conversation. Let's take a quick break for business and sports news.